Mic check. Mic check. Hear it? Two. Wednesday we got a WTA Zoom call, and Thursday staff. We're gonna squeeze finance in here somehow or another.
But you get a different car? Did you buy it?
Oh, okay, that should give
got
us
a different
enough
car?
time. Then you can get some more information together.
Oh,
too.
just, okay.
First week in February. Okay.
Most of them got the,
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll get it. Yeah, these guys can chime in too. We have a board meeting on the 4th, but we could do it Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon or something. I know he has fire commission, but Groundhog's Day.
my daughter's got a,
Yeah, we have shared services with Big Bend on the 8th, so we're
my
Jim and I are
daughter's got
okay
a brand new
next
Honda.
week, the
And
first week
I
of the
got a
first.
ride in that, and she showed me the difference. There's too many things that can go wrong with those new cars, the computers and everything, you know.
I suppose I
But she
better
trades
load
hers
this
in
baby up.
every year, so she
It's
doesn't
7
have
o'clock.
that problem.
No.
We just.
Good evening. Today is Thursday, January 21. Welcome to the Village Board meeting. We'll call the Village Board to order with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Roll call and open meeting law compliance check.
President Carol Fortner.
Present.
Trustee Jim Slonny.
Present.
Trustee Gary Weldy.
Present.
Trustee Fred Mahalik. Trustee Lorene Dashik.
Present.
Mr. President, note for record, you do have a quorum of your village board, and also note for the record, we do have 5 distinguished members of the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department here also.
Okay, that
And Mr. President, the agenda was posted inside and outside the Vernon Town Hall to the media on the Town of Vernon's website. You are in full compliance with the open meetings law.
yes, we'd like to welcome our friends and representatives from the Waukesha Sheriff's Department. We'll get to you momentarily. We do have public comments. I'll first ask if anyone has a public comment. If not, there are no public comments. We'll ask for a deviation on our agenda. The Waukesha Sheriff's Report is on item 6B, but I would deviate and hear that first. Introduce, yeah, sure. Introduce yourself and introduce your colleagues. And like I say, welcome. He's only saying that because he has equipment belt on, so.
Deputy Hollingsworth with the Waukesha Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Farrell, Captain Morrison, Lieutenant Samuelson, and Deputy Knight are also in attendance here.
Thank you. Do you have anything that you'd like to address, tell the board about how's it going so far, since you're now our designated officer here?
Everything's been status quo like what I was doing before. Still
Questions from the board?
That's good news.
What about speed?
Actually, we started speed enforcement on 164 down by the county line. Actually, picked up a couple in the last couple
County
days.
line or town line?
County line, down by Racine County,
Okay.
where it drops down to 45. So we've gotten a couple people between, 61 and 72, I believe those were. We've tried center. Center has not been, doesn't seem like people are traveling as fast as they were. Maple, we didn't get anyone there, but we've been trying.
What is the speed deviation that you allow a driver?
I don't
Well,
believe
it was.
Part of a bunch of Boston.
Yeah. It all depends on the situation, totality of the circumstances, as we say.
I do appreciate the fact that I have seen the deputy's car in our subdivision at least a couple of times, which I've seen them in the past, but it's more noticeable now. And people have commented to me that they appreciate seeing the squad car around there for the simple fact that then they feel more safer, you know.
Which neighborhood are you in?
Millbrook Circle.
Yeah, we've been there for a few days.
Yeah, I understand that, and but even outside of the incidents that's occurred up there, you've been tooling around there a couple of times. Yeah, good. I appreciate it.
Is that office in the substation working out okay? I assume that's where you're working out of?
Yeah, it's the same one we were doing.
Yeah.
We just cut, well, we're still having 2 squads work out of there on second shift as we were. And who would be the third squad is now working out of Sheriff's Department, so it's still working out.
Because you was expressed some concerns about space.
Yeah, and we kept it at 2 deputies a shift, so that's working out fine.
Or did you get a chance to talk to administration at all about, did they prefer quarterly reports or monthly reports, or did you get a chance to talk to anybody? We do get monthly from Lisa.
Yeah, and that's, if you want quarterly, I'm pretty sure, my district partner, Deputy Buck Hell, I think he's already got a program where you can get it quarterly too,
Okay.
if you'd like that on top of it.
Yeah, the monthly one is, not as comprehensive, but I mean, how much activity is there in Vernon?
Enough. And this is only what I've been doing, or what my squad is doing. If somebody's been assigned to it when I've not been working, this does not take into account first shift and, first shift and third shift. So there are other calls that are not noted on here. This is just for
Yeah,
contract activity.
okay. So Lisa would do a different report then, Ward?
I don't know if she could.
She does, but I'm sure, well, we'll talk later. Sorry.
Did you get your new squad car yet?
The squad we were driving, the transmission went out.
Oh,
Had to limp it up to fleet.
Any other questions, comments, concerns by the board?
Yeah, everything's been going pretty smooth.
Good. That's it?
That's
Thank
it.
you.
Okay,
Gentlemen,
nice
nice to meet you
nice-
all.
Thanks for stopping in.
Thanks for stopping in.
Same here. Okay.
All right, well, that was nice. We will start now with our regular agenda, item 5A, Resolution 2021-02, a resolution to adopt an emergency paid sick leave policy in compliance with the Families First Act, COVID employee request form, and employee checklist. We did have, just as a review for the public, we did have a special meeting on Monday to discuss our policy, what is happening federally and through the federal legislation that provided additional sick days and time off for people if afflicted with COVID expired on December 31st of 2020. And we had a special meeting to see if we could fill in some of those gaps. I thought we reached a pretty good consensus on Monday. We put it on the agenda in the event further information is needed to finish off the policies, and maybe we'll turn it to our clerk treasurer to see additional guidance. And this will be back on our agenda to get it passed eventually. And the idea, just so the public knows, our full-time employees do get 6 personal days, sick days, and well, of course, if you do get COVID, you're out for 10 working days minimum. So that's if you actually make it through the disease and not get a bad case. So the idea would be if they do test positive for COVID, that there would be an additional four sick days to cover those 10 days.
And President Fortner, I was hoping to, I drafted a resolution, updated the form, the employee form, and the checklist for the employee. But my question is, I just saw the Village of Sussex, that they actually have a policy for so my question to the board is, could have something drafted on Thursday that you could get ahead of time and pass on Thursday if you'd like. But I'd like to add actually either in the policy and or the resolution, the reference of, the 2 documents that go with the policy and or resolution. But we really didn't talk about format, so just wanted some information from the board to see how you wanted to adopt. Did you want to do it by a small policy that we could implement into our full-blown pandemic policy at a later date, which is going to take a little bit more time? Or did you want to do something resolution-wise, referencing those 2 forms, and then incorporate that concept into your pandemic policy?
We do have a staff meeting this coming Thursday that we could make further, or even take action this coming Thursday next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys were scaring me. Got another meeting tonight?
Because we do
This
have,
one?
we do have those 2 bartender's license, and we could put this on. I just would like to add a little bit more to the resolution and or policy, depending on which way the board wanted to go.
Well, which way would we go in order to make it easier for us if the policy changes? Which would be the easiest way for us to adopt a resolution, or by
Either way.
either way?
Either way is easy.
Yeah, the idea would be, which way would be easier to amend the policy,
Yeah,
simply
right.
because this policy is going to have to be amended eventually. It's going to
Yes.
expire, and it might need to be extended, it might need to be amended depending on the circumstances.
Well, the resolution would expire.
Yes.
The policy wouldn't have to expire. Depends on, of course, what we put in it.
Right,
But,
depends.
a policy,
Resolutions really don't die until another one's passed or.
well, we put a sunset in it and then. it
Oh,
died.
that's right. Yeah,
we did
this
put a
one.
sunset in
Right.
our
And this is specific only,
June 30.
and this
Right.
was specific only to paid off sick time, not as it relates to a full-blown pandemic policy.
Right, this is only specific for COVID-19 issues in the next six months through June 30, which is how the Waukesha County did it as well. That's what
And almost any other community that I spoke with.
Yeah, which is fine.
yeah.
But in addition, I think we should have a policy,
Yes,
perhaps more generic.
Right.
addressing any type of pandemic or emergency.
Right.
I,
Have you heard any feedback vis-a-vis the office from DPW regarding what we had talked and we're approving?
they've been so busy plowing snow and we only have 3 guys. 2 are off, and they.
I'd like to have travel staff.
I know John, the DPW director, John Henneberry, was very pleased that the board, met and addressed that issue. I know he was really happy with that and would like to see if there's any more discussion about a past issue. But he's pleased that the board at least, it made good progress on what you did on Monday. He's very happy.
Do you want us to table this for the time being, Mr. President?
Yeah, I think that table it now. What kind of guidance do you need for
If
Thursday?
If you want a resolution or policy, either way, because as Trustee Jim Solani indicated, it is going to sunset on the 30th of June.
It might be better just to, I suppose, have a policy, and with the leave request form, I think that those forms are
Exhibit A and Exhibit B. Yep.
very helpful
Okay.
for employees and payroll and administrative
Right.
staff, and to document, the additional sick days being granted and the reasons why.
Perfect. So we'll get that ready and then I'll ship it out to you. And then if you have any comments that we can address before the meeting on Thursday, anything you want to add, take away, you don't like, then we could do it that way. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. So
Alrighty.
we don't need a formal motion to table. We've got enough direction there. Okay, letter B is the Human Resource Committee's recommendation on clerk, administrator, deputy clerk's, treasurer job descriptions, postings which are in process, interviewing process and procedures. I just, on the agenda, just left our general description so that we can, have a report and on any and all items with respect to this issue.
I'll start out covering the job descriptions and then turn it over to Lorraine to discuss the activity that we've had in response to the ads that were in fact placed. And by the way, we have a third party to our committee here with Sue. Mary. I was close.
Sue?
For me, I was close. I'm sorry, Mary. I know, I'm terrible at it.
Go ahead.
I had received an email from Karen that included a number of additional comments or requested changes. Most, yeah, duh. Most of them were syntax, formats,
Typos.
yeah, typos.
It wasn't really substantive in most of them.
Nothing that changed anything that we were recommending in the first place. I made all those changes and sent Karen a copy yesterday.
As those trustees?
Oh, those are the finished ones?
Yes.
You're good. Okay. So you have them in your packet. So those are all three of the job descriptions that we had been working on. The clerk administrator, the deputy clerk, the treasurer, and are ready for board approval. Yes.
Jim, nice, excellent work.
Yeah, that's
Not throwing stones
all the
at
girls.
you. Pardon me?
Most of the women did most of the work.
Okay, for the clarity then. The only thing that I looked at in the treasurer, it doesn't say anything about part-time. Is that
Right up at the
actually-
top, it says part-time.
Sorry?
Right at the top.
Oh, yeah, up here, Fred. Right here.
Non-exempt, part-time.
I was looking
Right.
at text. Sorry.
Right.
I was a little confused. Which copy of clerk administrator are we working with? Because I had submitted one after I worked on Carl's corrections.
Yeah, that was the one that, I never saw anything from you off of these corrections that just came yesterday.
I did that several nights ago. Carl,
Well,
I don't
no,
know if
then
you have
didn't
the
do
exact.
The current one. 'Cause
I don't
just got
care
it
which one we use. I just want to make sure I'm approving the right
Ones
one.
you have that were handed out tonight are the correct ones.
Okay. So, Carl, the additions that I had put on that one that I sent you, you want those to remain off of the final copy?
I can't. when I- I-
Karen sent out my copy in the packet. That was mine.
And then Jim, yours was sent out after this morning.
When I
Yep.
got,
Right.
So
Got
we
it
are
yesterday.
working with two different copies
Are
right
we?
now.
I never saw yours. I just saw Jim's and Carl's.
Mine was, I picked up the other day from you.
there
I never
weren't
saw
any
anything from you.
differences from yours.
It's
versus
very,
this copy.
very, very little is different. Very little.
Well, we
So
could-
it's fine. If this is
Well,
the one we're
vote on
working
the
with,
ones
that's
that are in
fine.
front of you.
We'll work with this one. That's fine.
I said, vote on the ones that are in front of you. that you were
Okay, we'll
handed
vote
out tonight,
Absolutely, that's fine.
you know?
Mhm.
and these could be approved with subject to any minor changes
Oh, yeah.
as approved by two of us anyway, Carl Fortner, or president, and Lorraine Dashick, or Jim
Right.
Slaney, or something like that, not three, but two, right? That'd be okay. If there's additional, yeah,
In your text, there is, that also says anything that's directed by the board.
right.
Right.
So that'll fix all of that too.
Because I don't remember, was stormwater in there and your impact
Stormwater
fee?
is in there.
The actual writing of the
Yeah,
the MS4?
that was one of his,
Yeah,
his
yeah, because
comments.
that was missing, and I thought, man,
There
that's a
were
big.
two.
The ERU calculations, yeah, perfect.
MR4,
And I,
whatever.
yeah, MS4, and I know Carl wants that impact fee study resurrected like
Right.
yesterday.
Right.
But you got to catch all in there for all the positions.
So if there's a minor it seems to me we could approve them subject to,
Okay.
minor
Now,
changes
we've
as
never-
approved.
We've never sent this to Attorney Marcy.
No.
And that's one thing Attorney
And I don't
Macy.
know that, personally, I don't know that we need to, but that's just my not too humble opinion.
What was John's comments? Did he say? Yeah,
He suggested sending it to the labor attorney.
but you guys are running out of time.
Yes, yes, I think we should just move forward. In fact, I think if we need to do any more follow-up on this, that we should have a joint town board HR committee meeting, similar to like a plan commission, notice it as a town board so that it can get finalized with the board at the same time. Even if there's only 3 people from the board, which would be Carl and, because we already have 2 board members on the committee.
Right.
Gary, you're welcome to come. Fred, you're welcome to come, but
Yeah.
just so it can be finalized.
Well, that would be one way to finalize it. Another would be, I don't know where everybody is as far as reading the revised ones. I tried to read through it very carefully, and so long as there is ability to fix minor things, I didn't have a chance to
Right.
review it, and, I already circled one little thing, but it's a minor little
That
space.
ain't fair.
Oh, I mean,
Come on.
occupational hazard.
Well, I know Human Resources is meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah, right,
The substance is there,
right.
and then you add a sentence or a word or whatever, and I don't think that's,
Right.
Well,
It's not
before-
changing the substance.
Before we move on to Lorraine's part on the activity that we've had, we should get these approved so we can go forward with interviews and the like.
Okay, so you're looking for a clerk administrator and the treasurer, right? Or the deputy,
Well, we included a deputy clerk because we did it,
okay.
and we're not
Well,
currently.
Not currently hiring for that.
Right.
That one is not complete.
Right.
But
So-
I'm not worried about it because you're not replacing anybody anyway.
Yeah.
So,
But those are the 2 that we're looking for approval for. So I'll make a motion to approve them as written, subject to future change. Whatever that means.
how about, subject to, minor changes as approved by the president and trustee number 1?
Right.
So if we have a little something, we can just fix it right away.
Clerk administrator, treasurer. Yeah.
Those 2 job descriptions, right?
Yeah, I had said at one time that we hadn't finalized the deputy clerk. Pat took exception to that, but I didn't have a copy of it. And the only reason you have it now is because I found it in the copy that Karen had sent back a while back to me.
Okay, so you've made the motion, I'll second that motion, we can go to discussion.
Okay, I appreciate all the hard work that went into establishing these job descriptions. I have no qualms in regard to the job descriptions, and I will be taking a position opposing the posting of these, since you understand in the past that I have sticking with my ongoing position, as I believe that this is, you know, needless, a lot of extra work that didn't have to be done, and I was not in favor of splitting these two positions to begin with. So I appreciate your work on this, Jim and Lorene. You did a nice job in regard, at least defining the positions, and I don't have any problem with that. And I just have a problem with going out and trying to solicit for jobs. That's the only thing I have to say, Mr. President.
Thank you. Trustee?
Well, I just want to point out that it actually is creating 2 new job positions. It's no longer a clerk treasurer position. It is a clerk administrator position. It is a new position.
Can I clarify? It is not new. If you look at my job position on the website, what I do is everything the clerk administrator does now. Just to clarify, you didn't add any new jobs. You actually took away from the clerk administrator and created but what is done in the clerk administrator is what I've done for the last 8 years. I just wanted to state that for the record. It's not new. Yes.
And
Yes.
we're taking applications from everyone, so
And
that's not a problem.
You're asking me to apply also, correct?
Yes.
And interview? I'm getting a
Well-
lot of calls, so it'd probably be good to, to state what your opinion is. Because everybody's
I
asking
guess-
if I'm leaving or retiring.
I guess that would be fair. If we need to interview everyone, we need to interview you.
Oh, no, just people like to know what your opinions are. And I don't know what to tell people.
Well, you know what my opinion is.
I know what yours
Go-
is, and
go
I know what,
ahead. We're not gonna
I
find
know-
anybody with your experience.
I know what Gary's, I know what Carl's is, but I understand.
What is Carl's opinion?
He's neutral.
Neutral.
Karen knows what your opinion is. I just want to know what it is also.
Well, if, when we get, it's one thing to we've got to get job descriptions, it seems to me, because it helps define the position, and I think what we've done is taken the existing job description and carved off the treasurer piece, which was, in my view, we're trying to separate those duties, and that was the point of all this. And I'm not going to get into semantics about whether it's a new position or whatever, changed position, but we posted it, and people are sending in their resumes,
There's about 40 now.
and, if you need to winnow those down, and then it seems to me, at that point, we should make a decision whether we're going to go outside and interview, or take our existing clerk and, retain her. I don't want to put, it's one thing to ask people to apply for jobs and sending resume. It's another thing to spend a lot of time and effort, and their time and effort, interviewing if it's ordained that we're just going to, retain our current clerk. So we'll see how the process continues here.
If I could, how many, of these positions, okay, how many are coming in for treasurer versus?
Only one for treasurer. All the others are for clerk administrator.
With no job description posted, correct? These applications are coming in for a clerk administrator, not knowing what the job description is, correct? Correct?
Not the full job description, just that we're advertising for clerk
Just that
administrator.
ad, right?
Yeah,
Whatever
because
the ad
people,
was,
Yeah,
whatever
that's
the ad
That's why they're
was.
calling. What do they?
yes, they're calling and asking
Yes.
me, and I'm referring them to you.
Hey, great.
So we really need to get this job description
Right, so that
settled.
it's
And same way
available
with
for
the
them to
treasurer as
read,
well.
yes. That would be great. But I'm also wondering I don't know if this is appropriate to poll everyone in this room, what their intention is, because we're doing a lot of work getting this designed and posting it and reading all of these resumes. I mean, Mary was at it today, right? And I spent a whole night reading all of these resumes and marking them all up as you know, to see if they qualify. And I do not want to do this for nothing.
Well, it won't be for nothing.
I'm not sure that that's germane to the motion on the floor. though.
Okay.
I understand
Oh.
what you're saying, but, you know what I mean?
Okay. I just,
Well, I think what it's coming down to, is this a fire drill or is this a meaningful, effort?
I don't think we'd be doing it if we didn't think it was a meaningful effort.
all right, then we move on.
Right.
That, based on the discussion I'm hearing, there's nothing that leads me to believe otherwise.
Call the question?
Yes.
can-
Any further discussion, then we'll call the question.
Just read the motion again.
The motion was made by trustee Jim Swanee to approve the job descriptions for the clerk administrator, treasurer, and deputy clerks, was seconded by President Carl Fortner. With, excuse me, there was one with any, subject to any minor changes as approved by the president and trustee Jim Swanee.
That's all we're voting on.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, just the job description.
Just the job descriptions,
Okay.
right?
Very good.
And with that little minor changes made by the trustee Swanee and
Right.
President Fortner.
Okay, any further discussion, then we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Further report by the HR committee. We got a little snippets. Resumes are coming in. We got
Yes,
that.
yes.
And one for treasurer.
Only one for treasurer that I
and
saw,
Any
unless
more for clerk administrator? Okay.
I did not get to read today's. I read about 37 of them, yes, last night. And there's only about 3, I think, that I think are real good, qualified people. I'm looking for the municipal background personally. I think that's important, but there are a lot of people with bachelor's degrees and not involved with municipal government, though.
And what deadline did we put in there?
February 1?
February 1, the ads will run until February 1.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's when it's, in the ad, it says we're accepting resumes till February 1.
Right, right,
I think,
right,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know if that can be extended. I'm a
it
little,
can be if we want it to be, yeah.
I'm a little concerned with the educational requirements that we put in the treasurer part-time position. They're a little high.
Mhm.
We might have to adjust that.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to have this on our agenda the first meeting in February, no matter what.
I would say yes.
Yes. And do you have any opinion on what I just proposed about having a joint HR town board meeting on Tuesday, Carl?
Village board?
For what purpose?
For just, because Carl had, corrections, or not corrections, but changes that you had made. I thought maybe we could speed it up if we don't have to have a 2-step process.
Well, we just approved.
Yeah,
it.
they're already done.
Right.
We
Okay.
just approved, Jim said he made my mark through, so
Right.
I didn't have a chance to review it. That's why, we made the motion subject to further minor changes. So I thought we were good on the job descriptions.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think a joint meeting would probably be necessary when it comes to the resume part of it and the interviewing part of it.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
and
that,
like you say, we may have to modify the treasurer one.
I think so.
I mean, I kind of felt that way from the start, that it was
Right.
asking.
Because it is a part-time position.
Yeah.
It is not a full-time position. And I don't think it requires a bachelor's degree. I do believe it requires the background
tried
in
to-
finance.
But we did try to phrase it where it said preferably
Mm-hmm,
a
right.
bachelor's degree, or or this would be preferred, but it's not necessarily required.
Right.
That's
But we're not getting a
experience that we think is
response,
okay.
so that's what I'm afraid, that we're
I
we're
had
losing
four people
applicants
call
because
today.
it's just a part-time
That's
job.
I had 4 people call today that are going to be sending you,
Oh, great.
calling you, or
Okay, good.
they wanted to know what the job entailed. So I deferred.
That's strange.
Okay, further discussion and report?
Question, Lorraine, did you get it, are you logging them into that spreadsheet that Pat had originally set up to track these things?
I-
Because somebody should be.
I don't know what that is.
Well,
Pat
she
had
sent
set
out
up
the
a
spreadsheet, the
spreadsheet.
tracking spreadsheet to everybody. I have the email that has everybody's name on it.
All right, I'm going to have to go back and look for that. We had trouble actually logging into the HR email. I think Marie finally got in today to start reading those applications. So we're a little behind on that. Mary, you're all in there safely, okay? So the 3 of us have read them all. You've been reading them? I'm almost up to date. I think today's I didn't get done. Oh, it's very tedious. Very tedious.
And you guys, and the next meeting with the HR committee is next week, Tuesday? Or this coming Tuesday, I should say?
Suggest that Jim take over as the chair.
That's a committee decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to do it on Tuesday? We'll take care of that on Tuesday? Good. I'll hold that motion.
Oh, good.
All right. Yeah, the green light's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay, any further discussion on item, HR committee, item B? Otherwise, we'll go to Pheasant Run. Mr.
Ron Beam.
Mr. Ron Beam is here. Long time no see. I hope you've been well.
Yes. You're good. Hope you all are well.
Trying to stay that way. And your paperwork is stacking up over there on the table. On the agenda tonight is the Pheasant Run subdivision letter of credit. And I know we were trying to get something in proper form. We always, if we get board, we'll ask for board approval. If the board approves it, it's always subject to attorney review and also engineer, the village engineer review, in particular the dollar amount, because we rely on the engineer. I don't think anybody here has expertise to come up with the dollar amount. At least I'll speak for myself. I don't. And the legal review is to make sure the letter of credit is good. In the event the developer fails to perform, we're not expecting you, but this is our security that in the event there is a failure to perform for whatever reason, and the village has to step in and finish, there's money that we can draw upon to finish the project. That's the point of it. It's part of the developer's agreement that it's required, so here we are. Ron, do you have anything to add, or?
No, we're in agreement with,
Okay.
we're in agreement with the form that was provided to us. And I think all we're waiting for Carl is just an amount, quite frankly, to slip in there. And
Okay.
we should be good to go.
Okay. And who's your, I'm trying to look at your financial institution. Who's issuing this letter of credit?
So Citizens Bank.
Okay.
In Maquango will issue the letter of credit.
Okay.
With John Brindell there.
Okay. All right, good.
You're getting a lot of calls, aren't you, Ron? We're getting a lot of calls.
I know, we're anxious.
So are we.
No.
Yeah. So where do you stand? I'll just deviate just for a moment. Where do you stand as far as cutting in the roads and staking off lots and all of that?
So we have three bids from three local contractors, and, really all we have to do is make a selection, probably within a week. And then the intent would be weather permitting to get at that in the spring with permitting and all that. So start right away. Again, weather permitting, now, things are pretty good right now, pretty favorable. So, yeah, we get at it right away and, try to get lots sold and homes built and.
Have you started selling lots yet?
Yeah, we've got, we can't close on lots yet. But
Okay.
yeah, there's been pretty good interest. So
Okay.
we've got 3 accepted offers. We've got 3 others with,
Wow.
hey, we wanna see your road in first. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys get, you've done a lot of this. Sometimes it's hard to make a decision, financial decision when, the road's not in, the grade's not established, but, 3 others have said, hey, once that's done and has been finalized, we'd like to move forward.
Well, the
So, yeah.
interest rates are real low right now.
And I think that's, that's
Run.
a lot of people's angst right now is, hey, we wanna do something before possibly.
Goes up, yeah. That sounds pretty good.
Okay, so any further questions? Otherwise, should entertain a motion to approve the, what are we going to call this?
Letter
The
of
Pheasant,
credit?
yeah, Pheasant Run subdivision letter of credit, subject to attorney and village engineer,
Approval?
review and approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck. And we do have some things coming up, land stewardship plan. There is other things coming, but we'll get to them, right?
We'll follow up.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're getting the
Okay.
correspondence, right, Ron? All the correspondence from the attorneys?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, I think we're bottom of the ninth inning. Just
Oh, you're
dot some
close.
i's, cross some t's.
You're this close.
So, whatever changes Sean or staff needs, we'll certainly incorporate.
Okay.
Okay, have a good night.
Yep, thank you. Okay, next up is Resolution 2021-03, resolution to combine wards for the spring 2021 primary. We'll turn that over to our Clerk Treasurer to explain that, although I could probably do it, but we'll let you do it.
Mr. President and board members, once again, I'm asking to combine all the wards for 2 reasons. We have a spring primary that is just the superintendent of state school. There are, I believe, 7 people on the ballot so far. And we have 429 absentee ballots that are going to go out on Monday. But we're going to combine all the wards because we don't want people in the fire department even yet. And they're predicting no more than 20% turnout for this election. So the board has to, by state statute, combine all the wards for an election. And that's what I'm asking you for this evening.
Right, and so last year we had combined wards here at the Village Hall, presidential, the August primary, special referendum for incorporation, the April election, so there's 4. And the spring primary, was that divided?
Yes, it was
Yes.
before COVID.
So we had 4 here. I think people now are used to voting here, so I don't know. I always worry when you change polling locations that people, get upset.
It worked out well. I think the only, Trustee Wildy can state too that the only time it was absolutely crazy is when they were lined up to the front door all the way out to the salt shed at 7 in
But
the
it went-
morning.
At 7 in the morning.
Went smoothly, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we had such great staff. I mean, awesome election inspectors and people
Right.
helping and.
I heard a lot of comments about how well it worked, actually,
And a couple people.
kind of surprising to me, but, because I didn't,
Couple-
knowing with the presidential election that it would be swamped.
Yes,
you know.
yes. Couple people complained that it was in the garage, but, it's that or a tent. So,
Yeah.
Just out of
Or fresh air, or build a new Village Hall.
Just out of curiosity, Karen, what does something like this cost the village in regard to running it?
this election,
Yeah,
well, because of the postage, I would guess around $4,300.
yeah, see, that's really unbelievable. We gotta have an election for for superintendent of schools or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's only one item on the ballot. There's
Yeah.
It's on, yes.
statewide election, primary election for state superintendent of schools. I think there's 7 candidates, is that right?
Right, so far. I mean, there could be more.
I thought
mean,
the
they-
nomination period stopped.
Oh, that is, but if they get their paperwork in, they would be a certified write-in candidate. They
Oh,
wouldn't be
that
on the
concept,
ballot per
yeah.
se, but they'd be on the ballot.
Yeah, I see what you're
So,
saying. There's always a
right,
spot for write-in,
right.
yes.
And just a reminder, I mean, we are getting people submitting their absentee ballot applications, but the 429 are indefinitely confined residents.
Right, so,
The 429 ballots that we're sending out on Monday are just indefinitely confined, people that can't come to the election. And the absentee ballots we only got 2 so far, but this is not going to, I hate to say that, but it's not going to be a well-attended election.
so people can request an absentee ballot by email to you
Email,
or Wisvote?
right, or drop something off, in the
Or
drop
drop something in
boxes.
the drop box if they didn't want to
Yes,
physically come in, or physically come in and vote.
and if we,
But that won't start until February.
here in Vernon, as soon as we get the absentee ballots, we allow people to vote.
In-person early voting,
Yes,
which will be beginning in February.
it'd probably be next
Yes.
week,
Okay, even sooner than.
as soon as I get the ballots.
Okay, so with that, any further discussion, we didn't have a motion.
No,
yet.
no
I'll make a
motion.
motion to
Approve the
approve resolution 20 dash, or sorry.
It
This is
should be
not 20,
21.
yeah, this should be, whoops, on the piece of paper.
Yeah.
Let me fix it.
Should be.
It's
20.
2021 dash 02, no, 03.
Yep.
Mhm.
Sorry. Yep, I'm going to go back. Okay. I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2021-03, a resolution to combine wards for the spring 2021 primary.
What drives wards?
In fact, that's always done after the census, so the census was completed, so I've already got 4 meetings set up on the redistricting. It's a battle between the parties on where the lines are drawn, and we have very little say, but when I say meetings on it, they do ask clerks for their opinion in regards to, population, but they have that all down pat. So it's every 10 years after the census, they do a redistricting of all the districts, congressional, federal, state, local, not the schools. School districts never change. Unless I shouldn't say that, unless school districts merge within themselves. But we have 5 school districts in Ward 8.
And is voting the only thing that we really utilize the differentiation for?
To differentiate what, trustee?
Is the voting
Mhm.
elections the only thing that we use wards for?
That is correct. Or districts for federal or county races, I mean,
Well, that's,
this districts.
yeah, it's used to divide, when they
Divide county
set the
districts,
districts, the bigger districts, okay, the bigger,
congressional.
Village of Vernon is one district at large. The words don't mean anything. The county districts, we have county supervisors, and sometimes the wards mean something because the Ward 1 might be Supervisor 32, and Ward 2 might be,
Yeah.
different supervisors. So they're used that way, and also for congressional districts. But, statewide elections doesn't matter, countywide elections doesn't
Presidentials.
matter, presidential doesn't matter,
It's when,
municipal, it doesn't matter, school board, it doesn't matter. I mean,
well, schools and Ward 8 it does. I mean,
in Ward 8, because of the school districts in Ward 8.
and then when there's county supervisor races, we have 3 county supervisor districts within the Village of Vernon, so that'll split the wards, the 11 wards in 3.
Okay, so we have to have wards. I was trying to figure out why we have to do this every time we have an election.
Well, normally we would have them split, one at the fire department and one here, but for COVID's sake and economics, we're having it here. Number 1 is COVID.
Yeah, well, economics is a pretty good reason just to have it here
I
permanently.
know. Yeah,
I'm just
good.
saying, I mean,
Well,
that's kind of what I
true.
was, where I was headed.
Well, and that might be that might be
The future.
in the future, and the reason being is with so many people voting early or absentee,
Right,
I mean, we did a presidential election here
right. And the,
in one spot. Usually we have them divided in the past because of the overwhelming number of in-person on election day voters.
and the bigger issue too is when you can combine all wards in one place, you have one poll book. When you have to split wards, you have multiple poll books. You still can have it here. It's just split based upon the delineation of the election.
Okay.
Make sense? Right. Well, if we could do a presidential here, we can do anything.
That had
Yeah.
to be one of our highest turnouts of all time.
Oh my God. And we registered for that election, we had 475 brand new registrations. Big.
Big for here.
Yeah, and we have
For
a
here,
very
yeah.
we have a very mature residential population in Vernon.
Present company accepted.
Yes, yes, yes.
Any further discussion? We'll take call the motion. Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, board members.
Menards authorized user agreement statement. We do this annually as well. I see we fixed our town village status here. And we have our authorized purchasers, and we do have policies, and we do make John make sure our employees understand that policy. But you know, it's one of those things. World revolves around credit cards. There is risk, you know, to any municipality, but I don't think we have had any abuses that I can recall.
An excellent job. When he sends his gentleman out to pick up things, they bring the receipt back right away. He monitors that, so, and that's really the only ones that go out is the DPW guys and myself. You won't be able, because you're not on the list.
You're not on the list.
Oh. They don't even have a card. They don't have a card. When they go, we have Menards accounts at several. They'll look up to see, they'll ask for identification, and then they look at their list and see if they're authorized. And then immediately, even though they have the receipt, Menards sends an email right away with the receipt to John and myself.
What I appreciate with
Does the fire
John-
department run differently then?
Yes.
Because I don't remember seeing the tax issue that we see frequently
You never see.
where people are charged tax when they shouldn't be.
Right, right. Yeah, the fire department's different, and I did you see Alex's email?
I
Yeah.
did not.
Yeah, he said he harps on them all the time, and I said to Alex, if your people need documentation that they're buying this for an entity, they can present that to any vendor to say, this is a uniform for my work, here's my tax exempt. They can take that anywhere and not pay tax. And we did straighten out Embroider Me, you saw that
Right.
that's all taken care of, but that's just one vendor. The other thing too is they buy a lot on Amazon Prime. If they would order it through the village,
Account, right?
it's totally taxed. There's not even a question, and it's free shipping, and
Because we're set up at Amazon Prime
right.
with our tax exempt number, and
So
What I appreciate, I was gonna say, what I appreciate about John's is he always writes down on his invoices where the money was spent. Because some of these invoices are, you can't determine what they're buying because they got codes instead of, so John writes on there,
Flagpole,
this is for the
toilet.
for the back shop or something. I wish the fire department would do that, because they have a lot of bills that come through that I was gonna call Alex and ask him what some of them was. I mean, one of them was for $30-some thousand. I don't know, I have no idea who he's, but that's off the agenda.
That's in APs.
Pardon?
That's you can talk about that in APs,
in
Gary.
APs, we can talk about that. I had the same
Yeah.
questions.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to, approve the, updated Menards government account authorized users.
And authorize the village.
That just had
And
John's,
authorize the village president to sign on behalf of the village
it just had John's people on it, right?
And me.
and Karen.
Yep, just these.
Oh, okay. That's why I was thinking, shouldn't somebody from the office?
Right. I never would send my staff, but if I'd have to go out and the guys, or if the guys, there's been times when the guys need grass seed and I gotta go because they don't have anybody else to go and they need the grass, So,
But that might not be the best utilization of your time.
I know, but I usually do it after, well,
Alrighty then.
So I'll make that motion.
all right,
as I
got it.
said. Is
I'll
there a
second.
Okay. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Village Board Finance Committee, future meeting date. And later on in the agenda, I will give a report about our Clerk Treasurer and my discussion with Justin Fisher at Baird about our debt level and refinancing and so on. That would be one item that we'd be looking to have on the Finance Committee meeting. We're looking to schedule a Finance Committee meeting with the board, if possible, to discuss, refinancing the debt, as well as some other items, including, looking at the preliminary year-to-date financial statements from 2020, how to improve the budgeting process. We do have to address cell tower lease issues sooner rather than later. And so I'd like to have this meeting ahead of our staff staff meeting if I could. And as part of my report with Robert W. Baird, they suggested 3 financial policies be worked on and put into place. So we'll have that on that agenda. How to schedule out our debt that we have budgeted, as well as the refinancing debt, and talk about our credit rating and how to improve that. So that would be the agenda for this Finance Board Committee. So if you could look at your calendars, or, if we could do it.
Did you say before staff?
You want to have
Carl?
a separate meeting outside of the staff meeting, Carl?
I think
Yes.
staff is going to get
It's
it's
pretty,
going to be all
bogged
afternoon.
down
We might
already.
have to break the staff into 2 meetings
Yeah,
already.
no, we don't. I was
That
just
staff meeting is going to
wanted
be
clarify.
long.
Yeah, it's
Right.
next week.
Right.
and Tom can't make next week.
And Tom can't make next week, so, yeah, I said I'd like to have it, but not going to necessarily have it.
first
We'll
week-
probably put the cell towers on the staff meeting then at least, to talk about it. And you have information on that from last fall.
Yeah.
And I put the guy off till January. Well, it's January, so,
Oh, he'll wait, Carl.
yeah, I know he will. So we're looking at the first week in February for a meeting.
And when do you have a meeting with Big Bend on February?
8,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so that would be the second Monday in February.
You have a board meeting on the 4th.
And you've got HR, Jim, and Lorene
On the 26th.
on
I
the
don't think-
26th, right?
Yeah, and then you have February 8th or 9th? February 9th? Yep.
Tuesday?
The 9th, you have HR? Okay, okay.
You have every Tuesday?
Every other, right?
I have the 26th and the 9th. So you have the 2nd open, or the 1st. 1st, 2nd, or
Doesn't
3rd.
matter to me. As long as it's during the daytime. It's
Yeah,
fine.
it's a workshop, I don't know
Okay.
that we'll be taking action on anything necessarily, so, Bear doesn't need anything but I would like to get direction on how to, reschedule our debt, and
Are you going to have a representative from Baird here?
we
You
could.
could. We'd
Yeah,
put them on
'cause-
Zoom.
We could put them on Zoom, too.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know Justin. He did our TIF.
Yeah, he's been here before.
Or we might do that, maybe at this meeting, but maybe at the following, have a different meeting, because we've got to get,
Some
our
things done.
capital, we've got to get some information about what we're going to spend capital. Do we borrow out a year in advance or not? And we'd like to get input out of the Finance Committee and Board, so then we can send Baird back to, and how we'd like to schedule our debt, so he could come in with a more concrete proposal. And then he could be on the phone to discuss how he, how we arrived at all that. So you're thinking the second, maybe,
Whatever works for you, gentlemen.
ladies?
And yes, and
February.
Lorraine, I'm sorry, Lorraine. Sorry.
February 2nd, that's, what day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? That's fine with me.
Should we do it in the
Morning or afternoon?
morning, afternoon? Afternoon,
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock?
Yep.
You cannot?
Yeah.
Okay, afternoon then, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, 1:30?
Sure.
Do 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
I'm easy.
And Tom can make it?
No, yep, I'll let Tom know.
Great. Okay, that was it.
I'll postpone my.
Finance and Village Board, so we will focus only on those items. And I kind of ticked them off, which is what I'm thinking of the agenda would be, and we'll try to, get through it and get everybody's input, and
Yeah, that's a little too many items to discuss at a regular board meeting.
yeah, it'll take, yeah. I mean, it'd take probably an hour or two, and then
Yep.
we'd have no time for anything else.
Right.
I'd rather stay focused on a topic and get it seen through, Okay, good. Every quarter. Yeah, well, we can discuss at staff meetings whether we want to have more or less. I mean, the staff meeting this Thursday is jammed packed. It's just, yeah. Be April, after the election. Okay, so now we're on to letter G. This is more of an announcement that we did have one resignation from the Human Resource Committee, so we're looking for at least one person there. The Board of Appeals, we had one of our members move, so he's no longer a resident, so we'll need a member of, this is Board of
Appeals,
Zoning Appeals, right?
Board of Appeals, yep.
Yep. Not the property tax appeals, but the zoning appeals, which, of course, never met until we met several times.
We never met for years,
Yeah, we never met for years, and
and you met twice, and
now
6
twice,
months.
3 times. February, May, and, yeah,
Yep.
3 times. And then our weed commissioner moved out of town, too,
He's moving to South Carolina.
or moving to South Carolina, so we will need a new weed commissioner. And that actually
Pays $1,000,
pays
Ooh, whoopee.
$1,000.
but you got to put up with a lot of weed complaints.
Right.
Hopefully.
So it was more of an
Wow.
announcement that these are openings, and we'll have it on a future agenda if people know of people willing to volunteer to do it, And that's, Board of Zoning Appeals, I guess I'm the chairman of that committee, but then we have 4 people. That would
We have 2
include,
people on Plan Commission that
Two-
currently are on it,
yeah, 2 people are on Plan Commission. That would be Mr. Noack and
and Jamie Schliessman.
Jamie Schliessman.
Joan Koth used to be on the Plan Commission years ago.
Right, and she's kind of our alternate, but
Right.
she was pressed into service. Yeah. Right.
I mean, anybody could apply.
Anybody could apply.
If you like zoning and planning or building, or it's just hearing variances to our zoning code. When they don't get a building permit or zoning permit, they have to go to Board of Appeals.
In the case we had this last year in 2020 was a case where the person didn't have enough, with the setbacks, enough for a footprint to build a single-family home, even though it's a single-family home zone lot. So he came in with a different configuration and eventually got approved after 3 times.
Mhm. And he just paid his bill.
Good. So that's just more of an announcement. Otherwise, we're into 6. And correspondence announcements and reports. start with Village Board President and Village Trustees. I guess I'll start. I will mention, our DPW Director is not here, and they're doing their best. We had two, as the board members know, but maybe not the public, we had two of our crews out sick, along with our alternative who was lined up. And so we were very shorthanded this last Saturday, and the roads got done. They were just a little slow, and I did have one person complain, but you know, the public doesn't know that we were particularly shorthanded during that snow operation. And I do believe our men are getting better
Mhm.
and soon
Be
to
back soon.
and be back at work soon. So that is good news. Otherwise, I will give a report about our call with Justin Fisher about our finances. And other than that, we've got a lot of work to do coming up. We'll go with Trustee Salami.
I don't, I'd like to offer my condolences to the people whose house burned
Oh, yeah, we had that
recently.
fire
I
last night.
don't know who it was or anything or how they're doing. I did note that in the Freeman where I read it, they called us the town of Vernon.
I'll contact them.
You think? So I don't know if there's anything going on with those folks that we can help do anything. If you hear anything, Karen, let me know.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I had was I heard that people over 65 will be eligible for the vaccinations starting
signed up
next
today.
week here. Just,
Myers grocery store. I went on the list.
oh, is that right?
Yep.
I haven't heard any procedures, so I don't know if it's a good idea to rush out and get in line or I don't know where the line starts.
Yeah.
But just so people are aware of it, if they're interested, call Karen. She'll have all the answers. That's all I have.
Trustee Wildy?
I just wanted to have introduced the two people that are here, Mary DeGrave and Dan DeGrave. Dan is going to be running unopposed for this seat for the trustee too, and I appreciate the fact I called him and told him it'd be nice if he wanted to stop down and see what kind of shenanigans we were up to at this level. And Dan was probably, I also invited him to the staff meeting because I feel that's an important meeting for anybody who's coming on the board to probably attend, since it discusses items that are going to be coming up in the future. And it gets a good feeling for exactly how we interact with our department heads and everything. So appreciate you being here, Dan. And I
Mary.
did get a couple
Mary.
calls.
Mary.
And Mary, sorry, Mary. I did get a couple of calls and asked me why Karen was leaving. And it's, well, they look at, that was you? Oh. No, and I think what they seen is that thing on the webpage, and I indicated to them that as far as I knew, she was going to be here. She's applying for the job, and they were kind of concerned, in regard to her possibly leaving. So I just wanted to assure them that everything was still in place at the time being. And other than that, I did, like I mentioned to the sheriff, I have seen them in our subdivision a couple of times, which is good, because it's the people around there are very happy that we have the sheriff's department servicing us. I haven't heard any complaints about that. So other than that, that's about it. I just hoping everybody stays healthy. We have a new administration now at the federal level, and hopefully we'll get this pandemic thing straightened out so we can get our vaccines and hopefully stay healthy or get healthy. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Mahalik?
I'd like to mirror what Trustee Salani had to say about that house fire. As I read it, they had no idea what started it or whatever else, but by the time the various departments showed up, the roof had already collapsed, and it's tragic coming around this time of year. I'd also
Thank you. Trustee Dashik.
Well, I'd like to say a big thank you to Pat Schlesman, who was our chairman for our HR committee. She had 30 years' experience with the hiring process, and she was so valuable with writing the job descriptions and the job requirements, and we will miss her on this committee. So thank you, Pat. And one other thing, one citizen is still looking for a receipt from taxes, so I thought I'd inquire if they're all caught up, if the receipts have all been sent out.
They need to contact the United States Postal Service.
Okay, I will give that person the message. That's all.
Okay, thank you. And I will second that for Pat. She did do a great job, and I've been trying to actually contact her. But we heard from our Waukesha sheriff, and I'm glad to hear that's going well. People ought to be aware that, he's on patrol and excessive speeders, and notwithstanding trustee Mahalik's trying to get out of what the margin of safety was. Mind your speed, especially in inclement weather. So we'll go to the clerk treasurer.
Once again, if people have not received their receipt, their tax receipt, once they go in the postal service as ballots, it's out of our hands. But if somebody wants us to re-mail it, we'd be happy to do that. Wanted to tell the public, thank the public for all the generous donations they made to the veterans. When I called the Union Grove Veterans Home, they were so full of donations from a COVID outbreak they had there. They couldn't take any more donations. And they suggested calling the VA down in Milwaukee. So I did, and they were thrilled to get those donations because before they go to the Veterans Home in Union Grove, they start out in Milwaukee. So they were just thrilled, and we'll be getting a letter from the VA in Milwaukee and gracious thanks for the residents from the Village of Vernon for their generous donations. Once again, I wanted to thank John Kubaki along with Pat Schlesman for their generous work in the Village of Vernon. And I don't know if the board members saw that our TIF district is fully vested now, and we do have all our paperwork. It went to our auditor, so we're all on top of our TIF district. And I just wanted to state the two things. I had 4 residents call that own equipment, bulldozers and excavators and skid loaders that are reaching out to the family that had the devastation. I can't, and we had one little elderly lady that wanted to cook meals, and just wanted to thank residents. I am keeping those names in the event that the person needs it, but wanted to thank the members of the Village of Vernon for their compassion and caring for that devastating fire. And I know no one was hurt, but still, it was a total loss. And other than that, just a reminder that absentee ballots will probably go out next week. So we need to get your absentee ballots in. If we don't have your driver's license, make sure that you send that along with, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Finances. On the finances, accounts payable, January 21, and I know there probably will be some questions. We can start with our fire department and the sales tax, and you did see the email as mentioned earlier. And this is from a vendor that we do a lot of business with, and they should know better. So I mean, my only question there is the one where it actually hits our bottom line. Most of the time, these sales taxes are hitting our fire department members' personal bottom line because their reimbursement is capped at a particular dollar amount, and the sales tax is an add-on, and if it's over, they are actually paying for it out of their pocket, which is a good incentive for them to make sure that they can get this sales tax free, and they certainly can if it's work related. And I know we've had this discussion over and over and over. Other questions? I know, Karen, I had some questions about some of the larger fire departments and whether they were capital and what was in the budget and whether we were looking, some of them were emergency repairs, I think. Some of them were repairs for the accidents that are covered by insurance, and
Yes.
that gets squared away with Alex, or do you have any further report? It's not that we don't know the money, it's just where's the money coming from and what account?
Yeah, the
So,
30,000 definitely was in their capital, so that is an approved expenditure. I did send the chief his account for vehicle repair. I have not heard back from him to see what his explanation is, because that, right now, if the journal entries are correct, which I asked him also, it's over budget, so I'm waiting to hear back from the chief. I know he's been working a lot of hours in Racine, so.
Right. And I know they have had a repair, unanticipated repair in 2021 as well with regard to their pumps and the valves and so on that is coming.
2021 or 2020?
2021.
Right. They also had something in 2020.
2020 as well,
Right.
yes.
Besides the accidents.
Besides the accidents, right. And there were several tax refunds in here, and I think I think a couple of them we had previously approved, but we had to redo the checks, and they're back in to the appropriate amounts, and the old checks were voided. And so you'll see, a couple of them are coming back for, we had already approved once, but those checks have been voided out. Yes, they've all been voided out. Right, remember the tax refunds were conditioned upon trustee Dashik and my review, and there's a couple that, the clerk treasurer bounced one before it even got to me, and then I think you and I bounced the same one, which is in this package.
Karen, did we get the reimbursement from the insurance for we did get that, did it correspond with the invoice that we?
I did I've been calling our insurance company since that happened, because I create a file on everything that happens. So I asked the insurance company for all the documentations as it relates to what was submitted, the actual claim. Anytime we have a claim, I keep that here in a file, so
Okay.
in the future, if any, but I don't have anything yet.
That's
Nothing.
a significant amount, $11,000. That's more than a fender bender, as
Yes.
I'm concerned.
Well, it was actually more than one accident.
Yeah.
So any further, no, we don't have any adjustments on here, is that right? I don't think
No,
so.
that one, we can't, Embroider Me is not gonna reimburse
Reimburse
that.
that.
In the future, they'll take care of all.
Right,
Darcy promised, you saw her email, that she's gonna take care of, if any Vernon Fire Departments come to, and they do a lot of business with Embroider Me.
right, and they should know, and that company should, because they are noting on their invoices, it's for the Vernon Fire Department, so they know, it's not like a fire department member is ordering something online, unless, like Karen said, unless they order it through Vernon's Amazon Prime account, Amazon is not gonna just say, oh yeah, you're exempt. They're not, that's not how it
Sometimes they
works.
get a better price if you order it through our account than you do a regular Amazon. Sometimes.
Sometimes, right. Other questions? Otherwise, we'll look for a motion to approve batch 2021-0121 in the amount of $174,350.40. Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Annual checks? I don't think there are any, are
Yep,
there?
6 million.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I already looked at all those and signed them. Yes, I forgot about those tax checks. The tax settlement checks, so we're looking for, this was noted at our last board meeting that it was coming, and
It came.
it came. We're looking to approve manual checks, manual checks with consist
Oh,
of
we
the
can almost-
of all of the
hard to
settlement
say that.
checks in the amount of $6,443,016.
16, 19.
Is that even?
16, 19.
$16.19.
Yes.
And I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. President's report on Village Bar, and I put it under finances. Karen and I had a nice discussion with Justin Fisher. Justin is at Robert W. Baird. He's our, helped us with the establishing the TIF district, and obviously did a nice job. It all got approved, made it through the state, complied with the statutes. We're a village.
Not going back.
And no going back. It was one of the 8 criteria. So we had reached out to him saying we have debt on our books at paying 3.5% interest. We would like to refinance that. In our budget, we have another for the carryover borrowing from 2020 and the future borrowing for pay for part of our road projects and our capital improvements in 2021. Put it all together, we're at $1.3 million or so, and to look at some alternatives to refinance it. He did. You received that in your email package, so you had a report on that. That's the one of the purposes of this meeting that we just scheduled for February 2nd is to go through that in detail. But his preliminary numbers indicate we could maybe drive our interest rates down to just over 1% and save maybe $30,000 or so dollars. So I think it's worth pursuing. And we may want to borrow in advance, look at our borrowing needs for 2022 and borrow it in 2021 as long as interest rates are low. And I think we do need to act relatively quickly in the event the economy picks up and the interest rates start blipping up again. So that's my report.
Good
You have
report.
anything to add?
Nope, you did a great job. The only thing, Mr. President, I know we went through the capital expenditures for DPW and fire department. Do you want me to just verify with Alex?
Yeah, make
Just to
him
double check?
Yeah, double check his. He keeps a pretty good list, but
Right, but you
double
never
check.
know if something's going awry.
right, if something is yes, double check with Alex
Before,
before a meeting.
okay.
And then what we do need to talk to John and DPW about future road projects for 2022.
Right,
Give us an idea about what really needs to be done, because I know Sherry Avenue is going to be done.
well, I know that those cross
So-
culverts on Edgewood are bad.
Yeah,
You
so
might
there's another
classify that
one.
in stormwater, but that's a really bad, the cross culverts on Edgewood Avenue, near the, oh
Isn't
gosh.
that environmental land there?
Right,
in
it's
there?
it's real swampy. It's not by the bridge. It's before the bridge. There's 2 huge cross culverts there. John's he wants to touch on that at staff, if he can briefly.
So we can get some more information, but that's another project that we should look at, our
But you're-
capital need.
But you're right, Sherry is bad.
Right, and we've told, Jim and I have told, well, the board knows, we were gonna jointly do that with Big Ben, and we agreed to put it off 1 year because it made financial sense, but we were gonna proceed with or without them next year,
Yeah,
so.
that needs to be done, whether they cooperate or whether they go along with us or not,
Right.
We get a ton of calls about, I know a lot of it's in Big Bend, but where the Quick Trip is, oh, that road is terrible.
Oh, that brings up a problem because there's some disputing about, not disputing, but there's 3 municipalities involved with that road, the county, Big Bend, and us. And so, but the road that you're talking about,
It's
I
county.
think is the county.
That's county.
Yeah, we should pressure the county regarding that.
To get it on their road.
Oh, it's terrible, and it's getting worse.
Talk to Bill, that's his district. Bill
Yeah.
Mitchell?
Yeah, it's bad. It's been patched so many times, the patches aren't even working anymore. Oh, I know, it's in bad shape.
That sounds like a 3-way road project to everybody kick in on a square footage basis and get it
Yep.
done.
Yep.
Okay, so there's my report. We're on to village board minutes. January 7th. I did have a couple of several changes on page 2. I think they were all made.
Yes.
So we looking for a motion to approve January 7th. Yep. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Everybody saw the revised, we're voting on the revised ones in the email. Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're on to January 13th, Village Board. This was our 10-minute or less meeting.
The shortest board meeting on record.
Right. Ahead of Plan Commission. So we're looking for a motion to approve the January 13th, 2021 minutes as
Correct.
as revised. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I will read number 9. Next village meetings, of course, all subject to cancellation and rescheduling. You know, look at the website, Facebook page. But our February meetings for the village board, regular meetings are February 4 and 18 at 7 p.m. We do have that special meeting on February 2nd at 1 p.m. that we established tonight. Plan Commission, this is just Plan Commission only,
Just Plan Commission only.
February 10th at 7 p.m.
We don't have to come.
Nope, you don't.
Nope.
Yay.
Village staff meeting next week, Thursday, January 28th at 1 p.m. And again, you may see a very aggressive agenda, which we may have to, if it runs too long, you have to table some. It's a full agenda. So. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We're adjourned.
I'm trying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were at it. Stay well. As well.
Everyone, see you next week.
That staff meeting, we're in closed session